minute. Is everybody alright? How can everybody be alright? Think about the people starving in Ethiopia. Think about my brothers struggling for power in South Africa. The wicked oppressor keep on trying to keep them under. Tell me, Lord, how long do my people have to suffer? Oh, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter for what I stand for, and that's my total freedom. Said I'm a warrior, and I'm a fighter. Yes, I know I'm gonna have to fight on for my total freedom. Yeah, oh yeah. From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help! Help! The Trinidad, a luxury liner, Caribbean Sea, with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free, but sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. A beauty with wealth that few surpassed, and in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took by bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at the lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help out those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. If only there was something I could have done to restore the credibility of this beautiful vessel. Money's no problem. Now there's a lot of fingers pointing, suspicion running strong. Who's to be blamed for all her failures? Who's to be blamed for doing her wrong? Now please remember, I'm warning you, for to the air she had the same crew who hold the keys to her vault. So we know who's at fault. Now it's up to you, it's up to me to make her worthy to go back to sea. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough, oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. Captain, you tell me, oh, we don't know. You tell me, oh, we don't know. Put up a flag, oh gosh, we don't know. When we turn to the World Bank for help, I don't know.
There are 4 exits located along the top of the amphitheater section, and 1 at the left and the right at the lower level. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a great experience with us.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea. This our native land, we pledge and may God bless our nation. Hear every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
On all platforms.
Our esteemed political leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, MPs, senators, councillors present, distinguished guests, viewers at home, my brothers and sisters in the house of the rising sun, welcome to the battleground city of San Fernando, and look at people! I am Viliana Rambutasing, Chairman for the constituency of San Fernando West. It is truly an honor to be co-hosting this evening's program with Alderman Colin Lizama as we meet at a crucial juncture in our country's history. The Privy Council has ruled that the postponement of the local government elections was unlawful. It has now been 5 days since the Privy Council ruled, and not a word from the Prime Minister, nor the MP and local government minister, Faris Alwari. Silence. At the same time, as if things weren't bad enough, we are under siege by rampant crime in San Fernando, with robberies, home invasions, and murders. Our residents live in a constant state of paranoia. Our citizens are migrating because there's a pervading sense of hopelessness. The economy is also bad, but it is worse in South Trinidad, where the energy sector has been decimated by P&M policies and incompetence. Under the partnership government led by our leader, no industrial plants closed their doors. San Fernando, Point Lisas, Marabella, Vista Bella, Labre, and Point Fortin were vibrant and full of economic life. Today, Marabella is a ghost town, and the rest of the industrial belt is not far behind. Our infrastructure is in decay. Take a look at our roads, drains, bridges, and public spaces. All are in decay. And in all of this, we are plagued with an absent MP who, when he speaks of San Fernando, speaks in the past tense. Faris Alwari hasn't lived here in decades and appears not to know the reality of the hardship we face here in San Fernando. That said, UNC people, I ask you tonight, are you ready to stand your ground against crime? Are you ready to stand your ground against rising food prices? Are you ready to stand your ground against HTC houses being built on school compounds? Are you ready to stand your ground for properly educating our children and for the empowerment of women, which is what our political leader embodies? And last but never least, are you ready to stand your ground and return Mrs. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago? We have a battery of great speakers here tonight, and it is my pleasure to first introduce the first speaker to the platform. She is an accomplished attorney at law whose presentations in the Senate are articulate and fiery. We are pleased to have her here with us tonight. Please put your hands together and welcome to our Monday night forum, Senator Jayanti Lakshmidial.
To the nation. Put the guns them down. So we want some understand. Down. Put them away now. Understand. Yo, Mr. Marshall, Benjai, wait.
My brothers and sisters, it warms my heart to stand here tonight as a fifth-generation San Fernandian and to see this massive response to the UNC's call to action for local government representation and the election that we are here to demand on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here to tell you tonight, not just as a member of the UNC, but part of the legal team that took that matter to the Privy Council, that the UNC is not a party that just talks the talk. We are a party that walks the walk. And when we win, we stand our ground. Our success in the Privy Council, brothers and sisters, is not a UNC victory alone. It is not a victory alone for Mr. Ravi Balgobin Maraj, although I must commend him for being a brother in arms and standing with us to fight against the tyranny that is the PNM. I pay tribute to him tonight and I say to Ravi, thank you so much for being an ally with us in this fight and in this struggle. But this, ladies and gentlemen, was the people's victory. It was the people's victory, and it is bigger than Ravi, it is bigger than the UNC, because it is not just about local government and about statutory interpretation and fancy words and footwork and arithmetic that they're trying to pull out of thin air to convince you that they win when they really lose. This victory in the Privy Council, in this case, is about sending a message to the PNM that they cannot operate and play fast and loose with the right to vote in any election. We will not have it. If you want to delay an election, you must follow a specific format that has been followed over time for local governments. But we know what they are about. We know that they did not want to follow the way that it was done in the past by, let's say, when Mr. Manning was in office. But Mr. Manning was more man than Faris Al-Rawi. He knew he was prepared to come to the parliament and expressly say, I am trying to delay local government elections and allow parliamentarians to have their say on it. Faris tried to squeeze it through the back door and to steal a year away from you, the voters. He deprived you of 1 year, or tried to deprive you of 1 year, and to add a year to the current state of affairs simply because the PNM are afraid to face the electorate. Now, what does all of this mean to you? What is all this? I have been asked about 100 times since Thursday to explain this judgment. What it means is that when you went to the polls in 2019, you elected someone for a period of 3 years. And in 2022, you ought to have had the opportunity to either re-elect them or get rid of them. And you were deprived of that opportunity by this dictatorial, incompetent, lawless government. Their failure to arrest the crime situation last year led to a record-breaking murder rate. They had no plan and no policy. And following their defeat in the Senate, alongside my colleagues, I stood and I fought them again on this bail amendment bill, which was the only plan that they had. That left them confused and discombobulated so that they did not know what to do except to run. They ran from the electorate and they decided now to delay the elections and say it is our interpretation of the law. This is a lawless government, ladies and gentlemen. This is a government with no respect for the rule of law. This is a government which, if they are not removed, they will gradually replace our democratic way of life with total and complete dictatorship. My colleague from Naparima, not the school we are at here, the constituency. Well, from the school here too, I think. Mr. Rodney Charles, I like this analogy that he used. He said the UNC remains the only guardrail guarding our democracy from falling off a cliff and down into a precipice under this government. And I have to endorse that. All of the other independent institutions, they are looking like, you know, those cable barriers along the Solomon Hochoy Highway that Rohan Sinanan refused to fix. Bus up, no effect. no value that they are adding. But the UNC is here. We are standing stronger than ever, and we are prepared to take on this fight on your behalf. And we have shown you now that we can deliver. I have to pay tribute to my political leader tonight, who not only lent her support, but also her legal acumen and her knowledge of local government in the course of this matter. She told them from day one that they were wrong. They didn't listen. They went ahead now and created a crisis in local government. And now that we have this crisis, all of them have gone into hiding. I understand they are looking for a scapegoat. They cannot blame COVID and they cannot blame Kamla, so they don't know what to do. Faris, we haven't seen or heard from him since Thursday. I don't know if to call the police. I don't know what to do, but the man is missing in action. He has another bout of Ram Logan Tabanka. I thought by now he would have been used to it. He should be used to losing by now. I don't know, how he has not built up immunity by now, but I hear he's, nowhere to be seen. Faris Al-Rawi touts himself as a son of San Fernando, but Faris is an embarrassment to San Fernando. I want to tell you tonight that we have in San Fernando a strong, very strong group of councillors and aldermen who have fought a hard fight for the last 3 years, even though they have been in the minority. And I want to say tonight, I'm not coming here to sell you a product that I haven't tried. I am a resident of Lesotho, West La Romaine, and I am proud of the work that my councillor does. My UNC councillor, ably assisted by our aldermen, including Alderman Lazama. They have done excellent work in our area. I want to bring one matter to you tonight, and I want to make mention of it because it illustrates the difference between the UNC and the PNM. Our hard-working councillors, when they get complaints, they don't sit down somewhere in Port of Spain and send somebody to look at it. They come down here and they do their work, and they are always on the ground. We had a complaint about shoddy work or incomplete work in Padmore Street, right not too far from here in San Fernando. My councillor, your councillor, he put pen to paper. He went down there. He made and did an investigation. He found out that a contractor was paid in full, and absolutely nothing was done in accordance with the scope of works of this matter. They did a whole variation and changed the entire project, yet the person was paid in full, and residents were complaining. He was not satisfied with the response that he got. Poor child, take it upon himself to write a letter to say, Mr. Al-Rawi, you are the member of parliament and you are also the minister responsible for local government. To date, Faris Al-Rawi has not found it fit to acknowledge or respond to that letter. Money spending and money jumping up. I want to tell you, around San Fernando here, take a look. In 8 years, they cannot deliver the big waterfront project that they have promised. They extend the width of the road, and I think they build one roundabout so far, and that is all, in 8 years. But I want to raise a more pertinent issue. How many jobs were created out of those projects for the residents of San Fernando? How many jobs? How many of our people who suffered through COVID were able to look to those projects to get a job? They came to the parliament recently to ask for additional funding for Skinner Park because Tree Pavilion run them $131 million and counting. UDCOT still has outstanding invoices to pay. And I want to tell them that when we take control of the corporation and of central government, we will have an investigation into all of the expenditure on these projects. We will not stand by and watch the improper allocation of resources, not when the people of San Fernando are suffering and plagued by crime, poor roads, and failing infrastructure all around them. Our councillors have to beg the business community to assist them sometimes to patch potholes for themselves. That is the state of local government, but yet in a minority with no resources of central government and no support, they have delivered. And I want to tell you tonight that you must not just re-elect them, you must elect the other representatives that the UNC put forward, because the UNC can and will deliver. We will change the face of San Fernando. I like my Starbucks like everybody else, but I believe in the small business community here in San Fernando. We have the ability to use our municipal police to strengthen our response to crime and so on, and so that small businesses could continue to thrive. The business community on Cipero Street, on Coffee Street, these are the things that anybody in San Fernando know you are born and you grow and you want to see continue, because that is the heart and soul of our city, and it is being slowly destroyed by the PNM's failure to deliver. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is short. We have a lot of firepower here tonight. And of course, we're going to end with a spectacular and very strong speech and a call to action, as I said before, from our honorable political leader. The UNC are here to rescue Trinidad and Tobago. We will remove the PNM from office and we will rescue this country. We will restore it to the days. We will restore San Fernando and Trinidad and Tobago by extension to the glory days that it once was under a government of the United National Congress. Come out with us, stand with us, campaign with us, follow us on social media, educate yourself about our policies and our plans, and make sure and encourage everyone to come out and vote when this local government election is called. I thank you.
Yeah, this is a message to the nation. Put the guns them down. Cause we want some understanding.
Let us thank Senator Ramdial for saving Trinidad and Tobago from the political gangsterism of the People's National Movement at the Privy Council just last week, Thursday. We give God thanks that we have good, hard-working people in the United National Congress. Thank you very much, Senator Ramdial. Our next speaker, young, dynamic, one of the youngest, and I believe the youngest ever senator to be appointed to our local Senate, and the youngest MP currently serving, a fearless advocate in defense of the rights of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and a dynamic representative in Barataria, Sawo. An attorney at law, he serves as the opposition shadow for national security and Attorney General. I am sure, very sure, he will not give the United National Congress bad advice like a certain attorney, generally speaking, whose name I will not call. And assure he go lie more, the MP for Barataria, Sawo, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, this is a message to the nation. Put the guns them down. Cause we want some understanding.
Good evening, San Fernando West. Are you hearing all you? Good evening, San Fernando West. My UNC family, it is very good to be in Sando. I bring warm greetings from the good people of Barataria, San Juan. Tonight I want to talk to you about some very serious matters pertaining to the governance of our country. And tonight we have a very dynamic lineup of speakers from the United National Congress. And very soon our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago will join us and tell you about the issues facing our country by this wicked, incompetent, lawless PNM government. A government in any democratic institution, it is to make laws, not to break laws. You all understand that? A government is to make laws, not break laws. But this PNM government is known for breaking the law. They are a rogue, runaway, illegal, unlawful government in Trinidad and Tobago. This government has acted illegally so many times that ordinary citizens in public office had to go to the court to seek redress. You remember when they fired Jawala Rambaran? That was an illegal move on this PNM government. Do you remember when they did not appoint Rohini Ramkisoon as the chairman of the BIR? Again, the court said that the government acted illegally. Remember when they unlawfully tried to interfere with the selection of the commissioner of police? Our political leader had to put on her robes and go to court under the matter of Haridat Maraj and get parts of the law struck down because the PNM was trying to put their hands in the appointment of a commissioner of police in this country. They went and tried to collect data under the Property Tax Act. We had to go to court again, and the court ruled that it was unlawful. You remember when they tried Well, not when they tried. When they intercepted the list with respect to the Commissioner of Police, and this country was left in a constitutional collapse because we were without a Commissioner of Police for several months. That is when they intercepted the list at the President's house for the appointment of Gary Griffith. Then they went and they lost the THA election. I remember they had a 6-6 deadlock. Rowley came straight to the Parliament. They passed a law to increase the number of seats. Well, they didn't go to court on that one, but the Court of Public Opinion decided on the PNM in Tobago with that election. And they have also embarrassed us internationally. You remember when Amor went in a Miami court and what he did? Amor lied on affidavit at a Miami court, telling people while he was a senior counsel, he was what? A junior counsel taking notes in the courtroom. Lie. That is the PNM. They are an unlawful, illegal, rogue regime in Trinidad and Tobago. And now we have the latest judgment being delivered by the Privy Council. And tonight I want to ask you all, San Fernando West, to give a lusty welcome to the best Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. Mr. Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, and I just ask him to stand and let us appreciate Ravi for taking this fight on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, taking on this government for this illegal and unlawful action. And what the Privy Council decided, as Jayanti said earlier on, is that basically when we elected councillors in 2019, their term would have expired on the 2nd of December 2022, which was last year, December. That it basically says that the government was taking your right to elect your representatives and keeping them there for an extra year. If you read paragraph 34 of that judgment, it is clear that it is saying that it is not for the Parliament, lest the government to choose the representatives. It is you, the people, who have a right to vote. So now we ask, why is this government running afraid of the electorate? Why are you running afraid of the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Tonight we tell Keith Christopher Rowley, get off the golf course and call the elections now. Call elections. And if you don't want to call the local government election, call the general election now, because we are ready to get rid of you from government. Today we are left in legal confusion. Councillors are writing to find out whether or not they can perform their duties. We don't know whether or not these councils exist, and yet we are yet to hear from Faris Al-Rawi. We are yet to hear from the Prime Minister. You remember last week, it had a judgment coming out of Miami. Faris Al-Rawi jumped up in front of the camera and talk about we're recovering $1 billion. Faris Al-Rawi, now we talk about Trinidad and Tobago. You're just lost in the Privy Council. You are the line minister for local government, and up till now you cannot talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago to tell them what is the position. But I'd rather he not tell us anything, because I don't like to take advice from Faris when it comes to the law. I don't like to do that, because by now Faris would have been telling me something about Surat. I don't know if all you know that case, Surat. But Faris Al-Rawi, that man has a special talent. That man can lose case while he is Attorney General and when he is not the Attorney General. That is a special talent that Faris had. But who they sent to defend the government? They sent Limo to defend the government. So last week, Thursday, Limo come out busy right after the judgment, holding big press conference. But I thought, I swear to God, that man lost his mind, you know, when I listened to him. The Attorney General of this country is telling us that because judges in Trinidad plus the 2 judges in England, when you add up the 5 of them, that is more judges agree with the government. So don't worry what the 3 judges say in the Privy Council. Them are really saying nothing much. We have to add up what the 3 in Trinidad say, plus the 2 in England. But don't worry about the majority judgment. Amo, what you feel is all fours. You don't check judges by the rounds. But you know what? Anna and Ramlogan, hang your jack. And tonight we salute Anand Ramlogan, Jayanti Lakshmidiyal and the rest of the legal team who did that. Amo is a complete waste of time. I honestly have to tell Amo to lay off the pills. And maybe you need to take ginkgo biloba for the memory. Because clearly the other tablet you're taking it are working. Because Reggie Amo, there's a fundamental principle in law known as stare decisis. It means you are bound by precedent. So if the High Court says something, and then the Court of Appeal overturns the High Court, you have to listen to the Court of Appeal. And if then the Privy Council comes and overturns the Court of Appeal, you have to listen to the Privy Council. Limo, that is basic law and legal systems. That is essential reading for a year 1 law student at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. And if you don't know where to get the book, you could go in the book specialist. This is not a free ad. You could go in the bookstore and buy Law and Legal System. Rosemary Bell Antoine wrote that book. So I will go and read that book. And then he tells you, Alia, don't go and talk about the judgment because you get charged Alia for contempt of court. You're running afraid of the electorate and now you want to shut us up. You will not silence us. You will not shut us up. We will stand our ground. We will stand up against this PNM government because we are not afraid. This PNM government is a threat to our democracy. It is a runaway dictatorship. They are preventing you from exercising your right to vote in this country. They are now making decisions on behalf of the electorate that they have no jurisdiction to make. Tonight we must say with one loud voice, Rowley and the PNM must go call the elections now. I thank you very much, San Fernando West.
This is a message to the nation.
Thank you, MP Saddam Hussein. Young, brilliant, dynamic, and good looking. Our next speaker needs no introduction. Like our previous speaker, he has accomplished a lot for our nation in the field of sport. He's an accomplished champion coach and the host of the hit talk show, Dogla Politics. He is fearless. He is outspoken. The PNM trembles in the Senate when he rises to make his contribution. Please help me welcome to the platform the one and the only Anil Roberts.
When I feel weak, when I feel tired, when I get worried about the future of our country for my 8-year-old daughter, and I come to San Fernando West and I see a sea of yellow, I get strong. Because separate we are weak, but together we are strong. We are UNC. Coleman Butt said in describing the tragedy that occurred in Southland, where citizens woke up to see oil flooding out their home, their family dwelling that they had worked hard to build. Coleman Butt said they built their house on top of pipeline. They broke the law, so no sympathy for them. Well, I say to Coleman Butt and the PNM, you broke the law in Nelson Gate with an indemnity against UNC activists and UNC lawyers. So there will be no sympathy for you when the election is called. We will vote you out without sympathy. You broke the law of tenders with no procurement, and you legalized thieving. When there's time to vote, there will be no sympathy for the PNM. You broke the law with the president, thwarting a meritless and collapsing a police service commission. And now blood flows through our streets, in our drains, in our fields, in our businesses, all over this country. There will be no sympathy for the PNM when the election bell is rung. Brent Thomas was abducted. Brent Thomas was abducted in a foreign land. You are Brent Thomas. I am Brent Thomas. We are Brent Thomas. We, our country, is being abducted by evil, led by Keith Christopher Rowley and the PNM. We must get rid of this evil, because we cannot afford to have our children abducted by the PNM. You must remember, this is not a story that just began at the end. This is a story of an evil man who boasted of working obia on his opponent in the PNM, who came into the parliament with pieces of paper and lied on a sitting prime minister who was the best prime minister this country ever saw. He knew he was lying. He stood there and he lied. Brent Thomas was abducted because Keith Rowley wanted to control the Commissioner of Police. Keith Rowley wanted to choose his own puppet to be a Commissioner of Police. So Keith Rowley thwarted a merit list, claiming that there was corruption and terrible things going on with FUL. He then instructed his PNM police to hound down every single businessman selling and dealing in arms legally and legitimately across Trinidad and Tobago. It was not just Brent Thomas. They camped out in their businesses, in their homes. They kept them under surveillance to make sure that Rowley would feel that he was right. They had to try to vindicate the lies of an evil obia man. That's why Brent Thomas was abducted, because the police are following the script designed by Keith Christopher Rowley. That's why up to now, you don't know how they reach on a plane, where the plane get gas, at what speed it take off, how it land, how the gun get on the plane, how the man get kidnapped, how the Bajan police know that a man was in a hotel lying down sleeping. You know nothing, because Keith Rowley is an evil man. And when you get the chance to vote, whether it's local government election, general election, in every nook and cranny across Trinidad and Tobago, you must vote them out without sympathy. You must vote them out till they shatter. But in order to do that, we in the United National Congress must be united. My leader is strong. My leader is strong, and stronger than I can be, stronger than you can be. My leader, Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, held together a 5-party coalition government when anybody else, it would have shattered in 6 weeks. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar is standing here, even though those from outside, inside, all around, and the mass media attack her and never give her credit for anything that she's done. But yet, she stands strong. But sometimes I get angry because some of my own teammates believe the nonsense. And they come to me and say, but your leader weak, she can't win. And I say, but who tell you that? Because that's the message of the PNM. The PNM says she weak because the PNM afraid Kamla bad. Will you take advice on Royal Castle chicken from KFC? Would you go to Be Mobile to ask them about your Digicel phone, if it's good or if it ain't good? No, you will not. Would you go to the devil to find out about divinity? So what the hell you listening to the PNM for? Is the PNM who say Kamla weak? Is the PNM mass media who push that down your throat? So ignore that, because Kamla is strong by herself, and Kamla is stronger with each and every one of us. So as a family, we must unite, because the time has come. And this could be our last chance to save our beloved country. Never before has a country been in such peril. Every independent institution is gone, but for the Privy Council. And to hear a man like me, a proud Douglas of African and Indian heritage, who believes in the Caribbean, who believes in the greatness of our people, I have taken athletes from here to beat the world, to hear me say, thank God for the Privy Council. You know, we in dire straits when we have to depend on a remnant of a colonial past to get fairness, equity, and justice. Long live the Privy Council. Fire burn the PNM. 8 years ago, I got a gift. There were 8 of these. This is the last one standing. It is strong, well designed, all of the molecules together as one. This is the last one. This is one that we shall fill with champagne as Kamla Prasad-Bissessar is returned to the office that she earned and she deserved, the office of Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We can only do this if we hold together, if we stay together, we do not get disturbed or distracted, because if we break this last chance, we will be in peril. So do not shatter our last chance. Do not break our strength. Do not divide the UNC. Stand strong, stand now, stand with one leader, stand together across Trinidad and Tobago to eliminate the PNM, UNC, and strong on the road to victory. Good night.
Before I introduce our next speaker, there are 4 names I want us to never forget. Kazim Ali, Yusuf Henry, Rishi Nagisa, Faisal Kurban, the 4 young men who tragically lost their lives at Petrotrain at Heritage Petroleum through the inaction of a lackadaisical board and the inaction of a lazy PNM government. And I thank Dr. David Lee and my sister who is not here, Angie Benjamin, for all the advocacy they would have done in those matters. Our next speaker, a man who has been offering dynamic representation to the people of Pointe-à-Pierre ever since he was elected as a member in 2015. A successful and well-known businessman, a deputy political leader of our party or shadow minister for energy. And I want to remind you as well that in 2010 to 2015, this gentleman served as the chairman of the MIC, and was under his tenureship that program was expanded, and over 14,000 young men and women graduated out of that program. I want to tell you something. They were not graduated into the road. They were graduated from MIC into jobs, into fields of engineering, manufacturing, and construction. That, my brothers and sisters, is good governance of the United National Congress. The Member of Parliament for Pointe-à-Pierre, Dr. David Lee, the Chinese champion.
To the nation, put the guns them down. But we want some understanding.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you so much. My Pointe-a-Pierre family who's here with me tonight, thank you. I say good night to the Honorable Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, my leader, my parliamentary colleagues, the UNC family. But I must say good night to someone locked on here tonight, a past principal of this great college, Dr. Alan Mackenzie. Thank you, locked on leader. San Fernando, tonight Team UNC joins you with a nation in pain and peril. Tonight we come to you at a time when every citizen is at risk from crime, when every home is feeling the hardship of the massive increase in the cost of living, and a government which simply abandoned the people of our country. San Fernando, tonight we in the UNC ask you, are you ready to stand the ground with Kamla to make our country safe again? Are you ready to stand your ground with Kamla to rebuild our country and create jobs for everyone? Are you ready to stand with Kamla to reduce food and fuel prices? I tell you, let us stand our ground here tonight. Friends throughout Trinidad and Tobago, tonight we are here not to play politics, but to defend our people under attack from this wicked government. Tonight I am calling on the nation to open your eyes, my brothers and sisters. This is a government that likes to suppress the people, the development and the constitution of our great nation. Let me explain suppression. Suppression is what Arnold talked to you about in the case of Brent Thomas, where citizens can be abducted, arrested within a foreign jurisdiction, brought back to our country, and no one is taking responsibility. Suppression is Nelson Gate, where millions of your taxpayers' dollars can be used to prevent the course of justice and persecute citizens of this country. Suppression is when the Privy Council rules that it was illegal to delay local government, and Armour comes to tell you he wins in this for the government. That is suppression. The most glaring form of suppression is when a government can appoint their own PNM politician as president of this country. That is suppression. Suppression is closing down Petrotrin. Suppression is hiding the Commissioner of Police merit list. Today, Trinidad and Tobago, it is time for you to stand your ground against this government that will suppress our constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, every time an election is near, every time they want to fool you, they will shovel some dirt and pave some roads like what they do with what Faris does in San Fernando West. He talked, and I heard Jahanti talked about the San Fernando project. That project will never come to fruition under Faris Alwari. It will come under Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. Remember Rowley talk about a plywood factory? That never happened. Remember the aluminium rim factory? Never happened. Remember the 6 game changers? It collapsed. I want the people of San Fernando to understand that you are worth more than a fix-upper in Skinner Park. You are worth more than that. You are worth for proper education for your children. Hence, Kamla was building the UWI South Campus. You are worth proper health care. Kamla was building the teaching hospital right here in Sando, and she opened it. What they did with it. You are worth jobs and opportunity. Hence, the UNC protected Petrotrin and the energy sector, because that was the lifeline for San Fernando and Pointe-a-Pierre. For decades, Petrotrin and the energy sector have provided jobs for the people of South Trinidad. What did Rowley do? Rowley shut it down. But what do you expect from this PNM party that wasted billions on WGTL? What do you expect from this government that wasted millions on Atlantic Train 1, over $240 million? 5 years later, I want you to listen. I want to ask Prime Minister Rowley to tell this country, are you satisfied with the economic decay, the destruction to families, the decimation to entire communities, and the harm to our energy sector, which was caused by your decision to shut down Petrotrin? I want him to answer that. Petrotrin was a net earner of foreign exchange, my brothers and sisters. They shut down Petrotrin. You know why? To send home all the workers so they could hire who they wanted, and also to hide fake oil. Don't forget fake oil, my brothers and sisters. I want to remind them, and I've said it before, they are overcharging you at the gas stations, and I will talk about that another time. Friends throughout Trinidad and Tobago, it is time for us to breathe again. It is time to exhale this wicked government out of us, out of this country. It is time to exhale. How long will you allow the PNM to stifle us by taking the basic items which we need to push this nation forward? The PNM has taken away more from you than they have given you. They have taken away over 400 scholarships from your children. The PNM has taken away your ability to know you won't be harmed in your home as you sleep in the night. The PNM has taken away your ability to go to the bank and get foreign exchange. The PNM has taken away your ability for laptops for your children. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar gave you that. They have taken away the most successful technical and vocational programs ever created by any government under Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. The PNM have taken away your ability to walk our nation's streets without fear. They have done that to you. What have the PNM given you? They have given you the highest murder rate in our country. It is over 244 as we stand today. They have given you the longest period with no economic growth. They have given you 6 increases at your gas stations. They have given you hundreds of cabinet recusals so their friends and family can benefit from your tax dollars. They are giving you, they are giving you property tax soon. The UNC, I want to tell you, as I close, I have a couple more minutes. I want to say when this local election bell is rung, Marabella East will beat them in San Fernando Corporation. Toruba, Coquier will beat them. We lost by 30 votes. Marabella West, I want you to come out and beat them. When we win those 3 districts, we will take San Fernando Corporation away from the PNM. That is your role here tonight. As I close, Trinidad and Tobago, tonight I ask you to congratulate our leader and Ravi Balgobin Maharaj. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, as it was her courage who ensured we beat the PNM at the Privy Council. She never gives up because she believes in you for a better country. She wants that for you. Tonight I say, stand your ground with her and the UNC and let us save TNT. Before I close, Naparima Auditorium, when that election bell is rung, who you voting for? UNC. I want to hear it again. Who you voting for? UNC. I thank you. The battleground is San Fernando Corporation, and the PNM knows that. I thank you.
Mr. Marshall, Benjai, what you say?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lee, and a special thank you for lending us your mic man. Uncle Robin plowed and traversed the whole of San Fernando West for the last 4 days. And in this auditorium, all 400 chairs are filled. There is no standing room outside. UNC warriors have responded to Kamla's call. Do tot, vote! Our next speaker, and if I have to go off script here, I'll be standing here all night, is a prominent attorney at law for the past 10 years, a native-born son of San Fernando. Having previously distinguished himself as a UNC senator, he is currently serving his 2nd consecutive term as the UNC's Policy and Strategy Officer on the National Executive. The young man is a tireless champion for people, for national development, and continues to lobby for better representation for his home constituency of San Fernando West. He was the best candidate I ever worked with in any general election. We are pleased to have him as our San Fernando West coordinator. He is respected respectful to women. He is my Catholic Rocky brother, San Fernando West. Please welcome the one, the only, Sean Sabas.
This is a message to the nation. Put the guns them down. Cause we want some understand. Put them down. Put them away now. Understand. Yo, Mr. Marshall, Benjai, what you say? Don't fake now.
Good evening to the Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar of Senior Council. Good evening to Honorable Members of both Houses of Parliament. Good evening to members of the National Executive. And a special good evening to the UNC members who faithfully support all our productions and events, just like this evening's Monday Night Forum, just like our weekly press conferences and midweek press conferences. We cannot win the war against the PNM without your support. Thank you very much for that. My friends, I'm very glad to be here in San Fernando West. San Fernando West, let me hear you. Being here in Naprima College, seeing Naprima boys transform into a sea of yellow, it warms my heart. It brings back so many great memories because it is right here in Naprima Boys College that we launched our local government campaign in 2019, and we are going to do the same thing here this evening. Thinking about that time in 2019, I remember all the wondrous memories. The fact that we went on to increase the number of votes overall, increase the number of local government seats and by extension councillors, wrestle from the grips of the PNM, the Sangre Grande City Corporation, the Sangre Grande councillors. Let me hear you make some noise for them. And right here in San Fernando, we were able to manage to take 3 seats within the city corporation. Those three councillors are sitting here within the auditorium as well. I am no Obia man, but I can forecast that this time around within our local government elections we'll be extremely successful. We have a mandate from our political leader. The San Fernando City Corporation is within our sights. We are going to win the San Fernando City Corporation, bring it home under the House of the Rising Sun, and install a UNC mayor within the San Fernando City Corporation. San Fernando, under the leadership of Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar, will go through a renaissance period never before seen within the history of San Fernando. But as I stand here before you, contemplating all the wondrous things to happen to San Fernando, I must also consider nationally where we are as a country. That Trinidad and Tobago, just by a glance at our dailies, you will see, for example, today, the Express, liquor mart owner slain, shot multiple times by fake customer. The Guardian, beaten, stabbed, burnt. The Newsday, 3 years after husband murdered in Tobago, woman gunned down. Those are the headlines currently. That is where our nation has been gripped and taken down a precipice by the People's National Movement. Crime and criminality is the order of the day. Home invasions are on a rise within Trinidad and Tobago. We have so many home invasions taking place that a lot of persons who have saved up their money to transform their homes into a proper sanctuary have to transform those same homes into a self-imposed prison. Many of us within this country operate under self-imposed curfews as well. That is the legacy of the People's National Movement for Trinidad and Tobago. There's violence in schools. Every single day we are bombarded with media showing violence being perpetrated amongst our school children. The most vulnerable amongst us, our angels, engaged on, unfortunately, perpetrating criminal acts against each other, fighting in schools, fighting teachers, fighting safety officers, fighting parents. And the violence within the schools have now spilled outside of the schools. Let us not forget that just a couple weeks ago, at the Monroe Road Hindu Primary School, there was a shooting that took place that resulted in a dead body being found outside the school. That school had to close its doors early because all those children had to go for counseling because they were traumatized. That is the legacy of the People's National Movement with respect to our vulnerable children. Just last week in Providence Girls High School, an assailant was running through the school having been shot at,
And the children and the parents and the teachers within that school had to go scampering because they were not sure whether or not the person who had shot at the gentleman was going to chase him within the school. What would have been the response of the Minister of National Security had that been a situation where that gunman ran into that school and shot up that school indiscriminately? A scene that would have been played out from the local, the international newspapers in the United States of America. Gun violence in Trinidad and Tobago. Let us also not forget, when we contemplate those issues, the children of the Rose Hill Primary School just last year November had to be on the floor of the school because gunmen were shooting up outside of the school. And the Minister of National Security has the gall and the temerity to come out and tell you, well, listen, those children was never in any real danger, you know. The shooting was taking place outside the school. The same weapons of mass destruction, the AR-15s with the 5.56 cartridges, shooting up outside the school, could have pierced that wooden perimeter of that school like a hot knife through butter, but those children were never really in danger. And when we think about what is going on in our country, when we look at circulars coming out, imagine TT Post last week sending out a circular to tell postal workers, you have to be careful with what you wear, lest you become a victim of gang violence. So even people going out there to do their jobs, to earn an honest dollar, they cannot do so in peace in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the legacy of the PNM. And as Dr. Lee would have indicated, as I stand here this evening, over 244 murders within this country, and we are galloping past that murderous record last year of 600. We are not proud about that. Nobody in this auditorium is proud about that. But that is the stark reality of Trinidad and Tobago under Keith Christopher Rowley. That Trinidad and Tobago will be known in the Caribbean region, not for carnival and not for soca, not for chutney music, but the murder capital of the Caribbean region. That is Trinidad and Tobago PNM style. The hacking of limbs, the discovery of body parts, missing persons, sustained violence against women within our country. Just last week, the body of a 24-year-old Gabriela Raphael, a mother of 5, was tossed within the Queen's Park Savannah. Everybody, dog and a mother in Port of Spain, just walk the Queen's Park Savannah. And this animal had the temerity to throw that woman's body there because they do not care. They're emboldened enough to do that. So emboldened are they that within the police station last week, a police officer busy locking up his locker, safeguarding his articles. He come back a couple days later, they rob the police station. They rob the police station in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the position of crime here. And whilst we wrestle with all of this, whilst we consider all of these things on the round, whilst Trinidad and Tobago literally burns, they continue to fiddle and they resort to their normal bag of tricks. Their modus operandi is to blame the opposition and say that we are unpatriotic, but nothing could be further from the truth. Under Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar, every single parliamentarian has a mandate to ensure that good legislation is passed so that it redounds to the benefit of the citizens of this country. Safety and security are the paramount importance in our minds. That is the leadership from Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar. And then after they finish with that, after they finish blaming the UNC, they turn around now and they blame the public. You are not concerned with your own safety and security. You are not situationally aware. You are minding who you are bringing into your bedroom. That is what the Prime Minister has said. That is the scant discourtesy that they treat you with. And now, subsequent to blaming you, the public, they turn around now to blame the judiciary. The Minister of Nothing, Hines, indicated in a statement that criminals have friends everywhere in this country. They have them in the police service, they have them in customs, they're in the immigration, they're in the defense force, they have them in the judiciary, and they have them in the parliament. But why are you surprised? This is the same man that told you he is not responsible for your safety and security. So I am not surprised by those statements from him. He has no respect for the separation of powers, that doctrine that we hold sacred. He doesn't think, well, that is true, he does not think that joblessness or failing education systems or homes without role models are causing crime. He thinks after billions of dollars are spent in the Ministry of National Security under his tenure, he thinks that crime and criminality is caused in Trinidad and Tobago by video games and pornography. Money well spent. And these are the out-of-date, stale attitudes from a Minister of National Security who is long past his sell-by date and needs to be removed from office now. When we tell you about the systematic dismantling of security apparatus, we know what we are speaking about. A 29% detection rate, no scanners on the port, no mobile scanners for the highways and byways within our country, no jammers in the prison, cameras within this country that we told you about, CCTV cameras being important for the fight against crime, 1,607 cameras within Trinidad, and 730 of them are not working. In Tobago, 189 of them being installed, 99 of them are not working. I have lucidly indicated to you why Minister Hines is not fit for office. And I tell you this evening that he is not there alone. He is ably and aptly assisted by the guardian of democracy within this country, the Attorney General, who had an entire press conference where he chose to cherry pick from judgments in the Privy Council and cherry pick from the Court of Appeal and hodgepodge them together to tell you, we win, that the government has won. Won what? Won crime? No. High food prices, that is what you've won. Paying higher fuel prices at the pump, that is what they've won. And when we tell you as a responsible opposition that there is one party that can take this country forward, that the current administration is a government who is literally at variance with every institution that has a responsibility to be independent and to protect our constitution, we know what we are saying. We cannot be beaten. We will not be beaten. We will not be the downtrodden in Trinidad and Tobago. The time is now. The time is nigh that we must return one party that can return good governance, respects the rule of law, return transparency and accountability under one political leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. Thank you.
Monday nights, in your community, we speak up.
In the house of the rising sun, there is room for anyone.
Enough is enough, and the PNM must now go.
34 years as a party, holding the powerful accountable.
Because in 34 years, we have done more for this country than any other political party. That moment is coming again when we must return the UNC.
We are committed to democracy, to the rule of law, to the promotion of the people's fundamental rights and freedom.
In every constituency and right where you live.
We are back on the road to victory.
Cannot want to play math and pray powder.
It's the most watched political platform across social media.
And this is a total runaway criminal enterprise. And it must stop.
The UNC for me means fighting for the father that doesn't have a job so that he could find money to put food on the table for his wife and for his children, for his family.
The Monday Night Report. Stream us on all platforms. First woman opposition leader. Welcome KPP Plus. Solid everywhere.
UNC family here and those hooked on the airwaves, wherever you may be. I just got a text from Canada, from Jai. Jai, thank you very much. And your wife, can we say good night to Jai, who is in Toronto? He's not feeling too well, so we want to give him a heads up and send our prayers to him and his family. And all of you, wherever you may be, we are in a very, very exciting time. Do you agree? We are living in very exciting times. Why? Because we're on the brink of victory with the UNC.
We are on the pathway, on the road to victory in local government, general elections, whichever they may be. And so to you, citizens of San Fernando as well, I welcome you all and everyone to our Monday night report again. You know, I'm very humbled and honored to stand before you this evening. This remarkable gathering, I think people just like elections because there's so many of you here tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. My heartfelt thanks to all the speakers who were here on before me. Give them a round of applause. Powerhouses, Jayanti, Sean, Dr. Lee, Saddam, and of course our two chairpersons, Viliana and Councillor Alderman Lizama. Give them a round of applause. Thank you all so much. I forgot Anna. How you could forget the Douglas? Give it up for Anna Roberts as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I see so many faces in the crowd, so familiar, you know. Because of the COVID lockdown, we were not able to come out and meet with you, speak with you one-on-one. So I'm very happy that we are once again on the move, on the go, and we can actually meet and greet each other. Tonight I want to hail up a very important person in our midst and ask him to stand. Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, please stand. Thank you, Ravi. You know, people, you see the name, maybe you hear the name, but this is a person who is an activist who doesn't rest. We have just finished this case in the Privy Council, and guess what? He's already sending me emails and text messages for the next case. We have them on the ropes, and we'll keep them on the ropes forever. And let us thank our great lawyers. I always say the UNC has great lawyers, don't we? Jayanti Lakshmidiyal, our own senator. Anand Ramlogan. I love it when Saddam say, Anand, hang your jack. And he will do it again. So we have a great team. There were others in that team, but did you know something? As we prep for local government elections, let us also thank our local government persons who helped us. Jayanti, night and day we were on the phone, drafting affidavits, preparing the submissions. I want to thank Chairman Dr. Alan Sami for his witness evidence. I want to thank Chairman Henry Awang for his witness evidence. I want to thank Councillor Arshad Hussein, Chris Arshad Hussein for his witness evidence. And for all those who helped, I think Nicholas Kanai from PDRC was also with us on the phone, helping us gather evidence. I want to thank you all so much. And many others who assisted for us to get that case going in the Privy Council. You know, they asked me, you know, leader, what is going to happen? It's a very difficult case. JJ, remember, I told Deputy Leader, I said, that's a really hard case to win. But it took a brilliant mind in the person of Anand Ramlogan to crack that case. And tonight, I thank him very, very much. You see, the PNM think Trinidadians are stupid. They believe we are stupid. That they can do things over and over again, and they believe they will always get away with it. They have seen and shown us that they are not willing to forget the years of neglect for a few dollars. They think people are stupid. So all these 8 years of neglect, they will bring a PNM t-shirt in these few weeks. In the round election, maybe put a few dollars in the t-shirt, and they feel that is enough to fool you. San Fernando, will you be fooled? Will you forget all these 8 years of hardship? No way, no. And so they'll come to promise at election time the stars and the moon. They believe Trinis are stupid. Look, Corridor closed down, Dave. You sent this for me. Corridor closed down. 100 workers lost their jobs. MP Lee spoke to you about the jobs lost at Petrotrin and all the side businesses that operated out of that Petrotrin. Skyrocketing food prices. Barry's telling us about TNTech and WASA increases. Property tax is coming. Wednesday we go to Parliament to debate 2 bills. Saddam is telling me one of those bills is about the property tax. So it's about, what is it, devaluation, land valuation. for them to get into your property, to impose the taxes. At the moment they can't do it, so they come in to amend the law to be able to get into your homes, get into your, your dog kennel and your duck run, you know. Remember when we were doing the property tax, they said every structure you have on your premises, whether it's a thing that you have a little goat shed, a cow shed, a duck shed, or whatever it may be, everyone is going to be taxed. Every single thing will be taxed. So they're definitely coming property tax. We have fought it as much as we could, but now it's up to you. You must say PNM must go. We fought them in the court. We fought them outside the court, but we can do so much. And I told you we need you, each and every one of you, that we must stay united like this to remove this wicked, corrupt government. And so, suddenly, when no local elections are coming, you see them start to patch pothole. Some of my councillors are telling me they're patching roads already in certain corporations. They will not call the elections. Instead, they want to use this time when you have no councils, no local government councils are legally able to function. What they will do, the chairman can function, or the mayor, where you have boroughs and cities, which is in the PNM areas, of course. They will use the chairman to spend the monies to do their bidding. And therefore, I agree with everyone. Look, I have had to write to this Prime Minister. He doesn't like me to write to anybody, but I'm not stopping writing. I will do what I have to do. I will do my duty. And our lawyers are helping me now to draft a pre-action protocol letter to Keith Christopher Rowley to call the elections now. And I will give you a few days, and if you do not respond, we have the legal luminary, Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, to take you back to the courthouse to demand that the elections be held. So I've said they think we are stupid, but we are not. Imagine several trade union leaders and commentators. Under the UNC, we were offering 14%. You know, they rejected 40% to take what? 4%. That is why they think you're stupid. But I know you're not stupid, because every rope has an end. Everything will come to an end one day. And so only in this country called Trinidad, people will agree to take 4% and reject 14% pay increases. And I always say, Anita Haynes had told me, the maths, not Matson, definitely not. Remember I said I would reopen the Point-a-Pear refinery. But the same union leaders told you in San Fernando and in Point-a-Pear that we're already giving them the refinery. You remember that? Yes. Before elections, they were getting the refinery. Well, what happened? Years later, no refinery. None whatsoever. They fully well knew about the mortgage on the refinery, but they lied to voters. Today, they take 4% from Rowley and not a dog bark. Eric Williams used to say, Eric Williams used to say what? Not a damn dog bark. That is why they think we are stupid. But I want you to show them at this time, and in this election, we are very smart. Trinis are very smart, and we will vote them out. And as we're in San Fernando, I think Janti spoke about the businesses earlier. These businesses need their VAT refunds. Not just here, but throughout the country. The government takes your VAT refunds, they use it, interest-free loan, they use it to pay for his mortgage and pay for his rentals and all these other persons that they pay. Foster, Janti will tell you more about foster comments another day. So they're using the money to enrich, some of them to enrich themselves. But they will not use the money for your better quality of life. For years, they've refused to pay businessmen their VAT refunds when they are due. So good civic-minded businesses who do the right thing, they pay their taxes, they pay their VAT on time, they're made to suffer while PNM friends and family laughing all the way to the bank. All the way to the bank. If you own a business and you're faithfully paying your VAT, you know that your business is suffering, your cash flow is suffering because IMBET is holding your money as ransom money. San Fernando businesses, Mr. IMBET, need their VAT refunds now. Pay the VAT refunds now in San Fernando and throughout our land. But guess what? Election is coming. Suddenly, IMBET say we'll find the billions to pay the VAT. Don't get fooled again. Don't think you're stupid. That you will come now to say, look, I'm giving you some money in cash for the VAT. I'm going to give you a VAT in bonds. Take it. Whatever they give you, take it and vote them out. Vote them out, vote them out, vote them out. So I'm asking now, we are in this great college, Naparima Boys College. Give NAPS a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. And we thank them for allowing us to use the venue. So many of our sons have been educated at NAPS Boys, have grown to become great men in Trinidad and Tobago. So we owe a debt of gratitude to Naparima Boys College for education. Dr. Bodo, I'm being told, is one of them. Sorry, Sean is a press boy, but it's okay, we're taking that too. We're taking all the press boys and girls as well. MP Rodney Charles is a Naparima boy. And several of our councillors are in fact out of Naparima College. So we thank this great school for educating our young people and turning them into great men and some women as well. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Choose education instead of a red jersey with a $500. Because they will come to give you a red jersey. Germaine, you know about that, huh? Reject it. No, take it. Whatever they give you, take it and vote them out. Vote them out. So they will come and give you a red jersey with some money. They may promise you a 10 days job. Because that is what they think. That's all they think that you're worth. That is what they did last election when they used the DSS up in the East-West corridor. DSS. I see today the brother of a PNM councillor has been arrested for a crime, maybe related to the same DSS. We'll talk on that another time. But the UNC gave you schools, man, remember? We gave you university campus. We had training programs. We gave you gate financing, laptops, incentive to start businesses. We created 55,000 new jobs without a single tax. Not a tax. Not one tax. But some persons, they prefer the $5 in the red jersey and you forget all of that. So don't get like Maimon and lose your memory. Remember what you had. Are you safer today than you were 8 years ago? 8 years ago, are you safer? Do you feel safer today than you felt yesterday? Then what must you do? Vote them out. The answer is very simple, just vote them out. Look at the High Street on Saturday here in San Fernando. It's almost empty by 2 p.m. High Street used to be a bustling, busy place. Look at it now. I remember San Fernando, as I said, to be buzzing Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon. Customers and limers. This government has destroyed the economy and the security of San Fernando. And of course, all of Trinidad and Tobago. But come election again, they will come with the $500 on the red jersey and the promise of a 10-day job to ask you again for votes. I say again, the PNM thinks that you are stupid. But the UNC know, we know that you are smart, and therefore do not get fooled again in this election. We will have to win the San Fernando borough. We must take it. We must take it forward. They could have used $400 million. They wrote it off at NGC. You all remember that? $400 million. They could have used that to help us pay for comfort patrols in communities. Gulfview, in Marabella, in Paradise, in Springvale, in Coquille, in Taruba, Bel Air. We could have used that money to have gated communities here in San Fernando West. But no, $400 written off as a loss and more. They could have used it, as I say, to provide security to man gated communities. I want to promise you that when you put us back into office and when you vote to put the UNC in the San Fernando City Corporation, we will move to provide gated communities for security in this area. Gated communities, main roads all over. They have destroyed the residential living standards in San Fernando. And this has had a negative knock-on effect on the economy in San Fernando. I again say the PNM thinks that you're stupid. But we know that you're smart. And the only way you can show that you are smart is when they come around with their fools and their lies, you make sure and run them and tell them, go from here. Get out. Vote them out. The UNC will give you the means to protect yourself. Sean spoke tonight about the crime, and I have not a word to say on that except to show you pictures. They say a picture paints 1,000 words. This is the Daily Express. Liquor mart owner slain. Liquor mart owner slain. One headline. On the bottom line, and I share our sadness and our condolences to Alderman Marsha Jaimangal. On the passing of her cousin, they held their candlelight vigil. Yesterday he was murdered, her cousin. So please accept our prayers, Marsha and your family, and our condolences. Front page, Trinidad Express today. Front page of The Guardian today. Every front page today. Every day. Beaten, stabbed, burnt. Sean spoke about it. The animals who are running wild in our country. Guardian, beaten, stabbed, burnt. And then we move to the Newsday. Front page, today, woman gunned down. Every day, as Liliana is saying, every day, crime is at all-time high. Crime is runaway. And where's the Prime Minister? I am told he's in Tobago. Doing what? His favorite, golfing. We have the Privy Council judgment down. We have the crime at an all-time high. We've been saying that how long, and yet the Prime Minister is nowhere to be found. Faris is nowhere to be found, as Janti told you. He hiding somewhere. Look at the man. One sleeping and one golfing. Partners in, wasting time. Lazy, incompetent government. The UNC wants to give you the chance to protect yourselves. With crime at its highest ever in our history, with citizens being brutalized and slaughtered every day, no one is safe in this country. You're not even safe in your own home. You're not safe behind burglar proofing. You're not safe behind steel doors. You're not safe with alarms and cameras and systems in place. You're not safe even with the biggest dogs you may have in your yard. They're robbing you and setting you on fire, killing you in your homes and businesses. San Fernando was a safe place years ago. People spent all night, as I say, fishing in front of the PTSC yard, the bus yard. Remember that? Anybody here remembers that? Down by the wharf. People be out there. Macamillan, you remember that? Down by the wharf, liming. Or you too young to remember that? I'm sure there are others who will remember down there by the wharf, fishing, liming, having a good time with friends and family. They removed the parking area and the trees and they built a roadway instead. Now, in addition to high crime and fear, no one can use that area for recreation. This is the most foolish waterfront design I have ever seen. Anybody who has traveled knows when you go to developed countries, anywhere there is water, along the water there is what? Anil, development, a walkway, areas for food, areas for liming, areas for restaurants. Waterfronts are so vital to recreation and to the well-being of people, but these people put a whole wall and block off the ocean. Beautiful part there, part of the Gulf, Caribbean Sea, I believe there. Am I correct, any geologist, geographer? Gulf of Paria, in the Gulf. Calm waters, no big waves. That is something soothing and welcoming. You know, when I went with Dr. Bodo and Dr. Munilal, when we went up to the San Fernando, beautiful teaching hospital we built. When we went up there, and you look out the windows, all you can see is the calm blue waters of the Gulf of Paria. You know, Faris came to Parliament a couple of weeks ago to try to pass a law. I'll talk more about that another day. To pass a law, and we'll do it Wednesday in Parliament, to make Sapari a borough and Diego Martin a borough. And he talked about the calm and beautiful seas outside of Diego Martin. Hey, you from San Fernando? Are you from San Fernando? Right here we have the beautiful Gulf of Paria, and what you did, you block it off. You blocked it off. How long? And as someone told you, that waterfront project will not happen under PNM and Faris. It will take a UNC government to develop the waterfront. So in addition to high crime and fair, we can't use this. I ask you, Faris, why did you remove the recreation area and build a road ended at the same 2 traffic points? Look at High Street, Coffee Street, Sutton Street, Vistabella, full of people liming during the week and on a weekend. You could have walked anywhere in this city of San Fernando and you were not robbed, you were safe. San Fernando used to be very safe, and this, as you all know, has totally changed. They're invading your homes in Bel Air. They're invading your homes in Gulfview. They're invading your homes in Hubert Rance, in Visabella, in Marabella. Gangs are terrorizing them back there. Pleasantville, Marabella, and the inner city. I want to tell you, your next UNC government will root these gangs out of San Fernando and out of Trinidad and Tobago. I showed you the front pages already of the newspapers. And so in the face of the crime, you know what the priorities of Hines and Raleigh were. We showed you the pics already. Golfing, one golfing and one sleeping. There they are. They're sleeping and golfing while San Fernando and the rest of our country is under siege. The PNM thinks that you're stupid, I repeat that. But the UNC knows that you are smart. Can you put up the video, please, of the robbery, please? And that is happening everywhere, everywhere. And we just forget it, but we must never ever forget. And that is why, as a leader of your great party, the UNC, that is why we support Stand Your Ground law. We support home invasion law and increase legal gun ownership. The PNM cannot protect law-abiding citizens, and they do not want the UNC to give you the means to protect yourself. But remember what I told you before, they have 24/7 armed security around them. So what do they care about you when you're home? I asked if your name man, put up your hand tonight. Any man in the crowd, put up your hand. Like we don't have any guys here? All the men in the crowd. And I ask you, when you have a home invasion, you have your 8-year-old daughter, Anil, you have your wife, you have your children, and a man invades your home, what are you going to do? If your name man, stand your ground. Stand your ground. Stand your ground. And I ask the women now to put their hands up. We have no women, no man. Plenty. The women outnumber the guys. Hey women, let's go. So you are in your home sleeping peacefully, Hyacinth, with your grandchildren, with your children, with someone else in your family. and someone invades your home, what do you do? What do you do? Stand your ground. And so the UNC will give you the means to legally stand your ground. But for us to do that, first, what you have to do? Don't tote, vote. Do not tote. If you're toting feelings about crime, stop toting and vote for the UNC. If you're toting feelings about high food prices, stop toting and vote for the UNC. You want better education for your children, don't tote, vote. Vote for the UNC. Today, this evening, I just want to talk a little bit because I saw over the weekend, there was a story in the newspaper, the biggest story in my view. And this weekend was wiped away, of course, by the local government judgment, but we must not let it slide. This is Nelson Gate, the Nelson indemnity scandal, which exposes a corrupt and evil scheme of political persecution by the PNM. The DPP has responded to Nelson regarding the outcome of his conversations with Faris Al-Rawi. The DPP clearly states that he, the DPP, had no prior knowledge of the useless indemnity that Faris purported to give to Nelson. I quote from the Newsday article 2 days ago about this indemnity and notarized statement of Nelson. Quote, Green said, it was common ground that in November 2017, Nelson entered the indemnity with former AG Faris Al-Rawi on behalf of the government, and before this, he also gave a notarized statement. The latter was a catalyst for the criminal prosecution of his alleged co-conspirators. Who were they? Anand Ramlogan and Gerald Ramdial. They bribed this man, they induced him to come out to give evidence against two political persons to really get rid of very brilliant people. The letter from Nelson said, the letter said the DPP had received copies of the two documents from Al-Rawi in December 2019. However, Green said, this is a lawyer responding for the DPP, she said that the DPP had no independent knowledge of the circumstances behind the statements being made of the negotiation of the terms of the indemnity, except for what Nelson disclosed in his indemnity claim against the state for an alleged breach of that agreement. DPP's lawyer wrote, it should be appreciated on basic principles of the law of contract that as a director is not a party to the indemnity, he is not bound by its terms. Green further wrote, she detailed the promises that Nelson alleged were made to him in April 2019, days in November, and in November that year, after his conviction. These promises included judgment payment for his lost years. Faris promised to pay Nelson in return for his make-up evidence against Anand and Gerald. Faris promised in writing to pay for his lost years, that he was prevented Nelson from practicing law. Further, they promised him that they will pay damages. They promised Nelson to ask the UKNCA to give up jurisdiction to Trinidad and Tobago, and they promised an assurance that if he gave further statements, he would only be prosecuted in Trinidad, not in the UK, and therefore he would face no jail time there, and that he will face no jail time here. This is promises made by a sitting Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, none other than Faris Al-Rawi, the member for San Fernando West, promising, alleged also in the promises, assurances that no confiscation order would be made against him. They promised him a presidential pardon a month after he was sentenced. They promised him full monetary compensation arising from the disclosure of the statement to the British NCA. Al-Rawi had made these promises, Nelson claimed. And Green, the lawyer for the DPP, in response to Nelson, said, "It is plain that the director did not make any of the promises to Mr. Nelson." In her letter, Green said, since the DPP had no knowledge of these alleged promises, he could not bring them to the attention of the court. I say tonight, why is Faris Al-Rawi still sitting as a cabinet minister in the government of Trinidad and Tobago? Why? You promised away the moon and the stars and the world and money, not yours, taxpayers' money, in return for evidence against political opponents Anand Ramlogan and Gerald Ramdial. Tonight it is clear, it is a clear case this is, and I call upon the Commissioner of Police, this is a clear case of witness tampering, a clear case. I want to know how much clearer this can be. The TTPS must answer why those involved in this witness tampering scandal have not been charged. Why is Faris Al-Rawi not been charged for witness tampering? Why has PNM Senior Counsellor Douglas Menz and Gilbert Peterson, who are collecting millions of dollars and losing cases for the PNM, why are they not being investigated? Because we are told they are the ones who wrote up this indemnity agreement. A clear case of witness tampering. They assisted Al-Rawi in this illegal indemnity. You see, but the TTPS does not see criminality from those on the other side. They only come to look at UNC people. And I want to warn you, as this local government election is being called, they will come to try to smear our candidates and our councillors with all kinds of allegations. Don't get chained up with that. Do not get fooled with that. I ask you to promise me, have faith in the UNC, have faith in our great party. I call upon Commissioner of Police to answer why these men are not being made to account. Is it because the hierarchy of the police service does not see these articles about Nelson Gate scandal? They only rush to investigate when they see someone connected to the UNC. And some of you, as Arnold told you, you take chain up and believe. You believe the lies, the dispute. Be smart this time. Don't get chained up, don't get fooled. Just like the Police Service Commission meritless fiasco, just about the PNM pedophile ring, the PNM affiliated hierarchy inside the TTPS. They don't see these things, but they know how to run down behind a UNC. Faris, Menz, Peterson have to answer for this Nelson Gate scandal. I say again, the PNM thinks that you are stupid, but the UNC believes that you are smart. And how will we show that this wrongs? We have to vote them out. Vote them out. I see they have spent now $76 million for spyware and software. Further $76 million for the SSA. To do what? I told you before. They're illegally tapping phones of law-abiding citizens before. But they're not tapping the phones of the criminals, but they're looking for you and UNC. Well, it's election season, so now scarce police resources are being used to engage in witch hunting of any citizen they believe is against them. They have allocated, as I say, $76 million in the mid-year budget review recently for the SSA. This money is for purchasing and new and updating existing spyware and malware. The SSA is illegally spying on your private communications. I have told you before. I am telling you again. They are in your emails. They are in your private chats. They are in your texts and social media. They are spying, in fact, on their own PNM members as well. They so don't trust each other. We don't trust them at all. But even within themselves, PNM spying on PNM. That is the state we are in under this wicked government. Instead of investigating reports against criminals, they are spying on businessmen. They're spying on media personnel. They're spying on lawyers. They're spying on union leaders. They're spying on members of the judiciary and many, many others. I have no issue with legitimate investigation, but after $400+ billion of your money spent by the rowdy government, where are the results in fighting crime? Why are they spying on law-abiding citizens and not going after criminals? Again, I say, the PNM thinks you're stupid, but the UNC knows that you are smart. PNM-led political investigation with the firearms users' license, remember that? I want to show you a clip of an officer on the roof in Lange Park home invasion. Can we put that up, please? Home invasion. I want to tell you, the majority of the police officers are good and decent officers. They put their lives on the line every day and night for us. But then there are some rogue elements in the TTPS. There are some. For the past year, members of the TTPS units have been operating as a PNM party group. Their only purpose is to target and harass anyone opposed to the PNM. Everyone in this country knows the investigations of the firearms users' license and targeting them of firearm dealers is a PNM-led political investigation directed from where? From Balijé House. It is blatant corruption and collusion with the PNM and some high-ranking police officers. The TTPS is being disgraced by behaving like a mongoose gang for the PNM, some of them. That is beyond shameful. That is beyond what is lawful in a democracy like ours. Some of these officers believe that they are above the law. They're taking direct instructions from the PNM. They're walking in and out of the diplomatic center, getting instructions. I want to tell you and warn them that when the UNC returns to office, we will expose everyone who is part of this political hit job. There are junior officers giving instructions to senior officers. Did you know that? Some officers have been promoted up the ranks because they do the dirty work of the PNM, while other officers are working without basic supplies. I'm told police officers in their stations, they can't even get stationery to file their reports. They can't get it. The printers don't work. And if the printer working, they don't have ink. They don't have paper, the scanner's not working. They just don't have basic things like toilet paper. Officers have to carry toilet paper to the job. And you have millions and millions paying Paris for rentals and millions paying others. And our good, decent, hard-working TTPS officers are being victimized, abused, and harassed. The answer to this is to vote them out. That is the only answer. And then there is a whole fiasco, the scandal of the Brent Thomas fallout. There is a massive panic cover-up going on in this Brent Thomas scandal. The officers who were spreading the gospel of the PNM in Barbados must answer how they reached to Barbados to abduct Brent Thomas, put him in handcuffs, and bring him to Trinidad. You see, the PNM will carry you, but it will not bring you back. Imagine up till today, no one in this country can give a report on this Brent Thomas matter. Totally corrupt, disgraceful, and shameful. How can any citizen have confidence in the hierarchy of the TTPS when everyone can see there's a cover-up going on with this Brent Thomas matter? Don't move it on. You know, they say we are 7-day wonder, so they forget Brent Thomas. This week is Privy Council judgment. And by next week is what? Rowley back in Barbados or back in Tobago golfing. The news cycle moves on. We must not forget these things. We must not forget these things, because if we repeat and forget, we will make the same mistakes again. And so Rowley wants us to believe that he and his members of the National Security Council, he and Fitzgerald Hines, they had no idea how police officers as ASP Birch, Senior Superintendent Susan Martin, Corporal Joe Field, how they were able to commandeer a CARICOM aircraft to forcibly and illegally detain and abduct Brent Thomas. No one will answer. I call on these officers, if you took basket from the PNM to go after Brent Thomas, don't take it again to protect the minister who sent you to Barbados. Go and seek advice legally and protect yourselves. Protect yourselves, because they will come for you. Today was them, today was Brent, tomorrow is for you. Good, decent officers, I advise you, seek legal advice and protect yourselves, because none shall escape in this fiasco. That you abduct a citizen, handcuff that citizen, bring him to Trinidad, bring him on a CARICOM plane, and no one yet, Barry, nobody could answer. You feel that is real? There's a tremendous cover-up going on. The Barbados and TNT governments have both said the action was illegal, against the law. So the question must be asked, why no disciplinary action has been taken against these officers for what was clearly termed by both governments illegal action? And don't look to the high-ups in the TTPS for help. It is alleged that instead of getting the truth, members high up in the TTPS are forcing and trying to convince officers who are implicated in this abduction to help out the minister who may have been directing them all along. I tell you, as a former Prime Minister, no policeman from Trinidad and Tobago could have gone abroad to abduct somebody and bring him here in handcuffs. Could never have happened without the knowledge and consent of members of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I can tell you that categorically. So officers, if you were the ones, they gave you instructions, don't cover for them, don't hide for them, because at the end of the day, they will sell you out to save themselves. So come forward, do the right thing. This is a lesson to all other officers who want to do the dirty work of the PNM. They will use you and then spit you out, throw you in the dustbin, just as they did to McDonald Jacob. They will use you. As I said, eat you and spit you out, use you. I am directly speaking to the PSB officers. Go and seek legal advice. Do not take basket from the PNM. Do not let the TTPS high-ups fool you to protect the minister. Do not trust any of them. They are just trying to save themselves, and you all will go down. Because they cannot cover up anything in Barbados. And soon Rowley and Hines will be gone just like Jacob. The UNC will win the next election. And so I want to give you advice up front. Protect yourselves. Stand your ground too. They will sell you out to save themselves. So Jayanti and both Saddam and Jayanti have spoken on the Privy Council ruling, a victory for democracy. I'll just take a moment on this because so much has been said, but this is something we must never, ever, ever let them forget. That was a ruling that has immense legal and political significance for a nation. Landmark judgment from the case brought by our legal luminary, Ravi Balgobin Maharaj. He courageously challenged the postponement of the local government elections. You know, I had done a press release when the judgment came out, and I sent it to the newspapers, and one reporter said, "It is too long. My press release is too long." I said, "Do you know what this means? This will set legal precedent in 54 Commonwealth nations. 54. Thanks to Anand Raghu and his team and Ravi, this is a precedent that has made legal history in all the 54 Commonwealth nations. And I'm told that Mauritius has been calling our brilliant former AG, Anand Raghu. They want to give him some legal work to do for them in their country, Mauritius. Legal history. Not just in Trinidad and Tobago, this is big, big, big legal history. Setting precedent in 54 nations. The judgment will go down in history. I say, landmark for democracy, as a standard bearer for democracy. And I want to congratulate the lawyers in the Privy Council. You don't often get the Privy Council overturning all the lower courts. So the lower court here, High Court, had ruled against the judgment. The 3 justices of appeal had been against it. And these law lords had the belly, as they say, and some other parts of them, they were strong enough they had it. They had to see what was democracy. What is a democracy made about? And the democracy is about votes. It is about people choosing their representatives. It is not for Parliament. That is what they said. It was not for Parliament to say, stay for a whole more year. You are chosen to stay forever. And that's the Privy Council ruling. So I think we have made legal history with Ravi Balgobin Maharaj and his team of lawyers. The situation that local government corporations now find themselves is entirely the making of the PNM. It began with their poorly planned reform legislation in Parliament, which we rightly identified, we objected to in debate. I call upon Prime Minister Rowley, as I say, and I will write him pre-action protocol letter to address the councillors and aldermen and the population of their concerns. 1, are the offices of councillors and aldermen currently vacant? My respectful view is yes. They expired in December last year. So councillor, don't go and do nothing, alderman, because you will be held liable. Don't take chain up. Parisville, I know we have written, councillors have written, say go ahead. No. You will be personally liable for acting illegally. Your office expired in December last year. Understand that? We ask again for the government to say, if these offices are vacant, what date did they become vacant? And my view is they became vacant on the 3rd, was it 3rd of December last year? If they are not vacant, when will they become vacant? But the most important question, what is the date of the local government election? What is the date? With the status of local government councils in a state of perpetual limbo, the government has informed the nation how it intends to rectify the situation that they put us in and how soon they will deal with this problem. Members of the cabinet have been treating the population as fools. They're playing with words. They're intentionally being vague and evasive when addressing reporters, answering questions. This latest judgment should serve as a powerful lesson to them. Mere general, ambiguous statements are woefully inadequate. When it comes to matters so important to our democracy, the PNM thinks that you are stupid, but the UNC knows that you are smart. So listen to me. I don't know what they will do. Tongue say they will come to Parliament to validate anything the councils are doing in the period when your term expired. They will come to extend further what they tried to do to say you're all still alive. I was talking to Darrell last night. I said, Darrell, the only time a dead man comes alive was 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, when there was the resurrection. But that same great soul, the Lord Jesus, he also raised a dead man, Lazarus. So whichever bill they bring into Parliament, it must not be a Lazarus bill that they bring to Parliament to raise the dead again. They have to come good. Because we will take you to court again. If you come again, Faris Dunce and Ahmad Dunce, we have brilliant lawyers in the UNC who will try to set you straight. But when we give them ideas in the Parliament, they don't listen to us, But they find out each time we challenge them. I think Saddam mentioned some of the times we challenged, we have been successful. So, as I close, I just want to show you a map. And then I'll ask the councillors for the region to join us. Can you put up that map, please? We know it, but they say visual is most important. This is what Fernando looks like after the last local government elections. Look at it. Look at it. The UNC, we are winners, we are strong and we are proud. Look at that map. Look at that map. And when they win a corporation, it's all those little red ones. You see them? You see San Fernando is totally surrounded by UNC yellow. I mean, you just have to push them and they fall into the sea. Just look at, they're just catching up on the edge there of the map. San Fernando, let's run them out of town. Vote them out, vote them out. In the last 2 elections, local, the UNC got more votes than the PNM. We are winners. But what they did, in 1990, the NAR government passed a piece of law, the Municipal Corporations Act, yes? In 1990. In that law, they created 19 local government corporations. But that was a dagger in the heart of the PNM. Because when you look at the map, you see how spread out the country is, the mass of the country. The PNM came in as soon as they formed government in 1992 to repeal that law and to create only 14 corporations. But when you look at the numbers per corporation, the NAR was correct. It was a democratic thing to do, to have the 19 corporations, to spread out the votes. So you see the PNM catched up on the top left of the map and 2 little pieces down here in the southwest peninsula. Listen to these numbers. Listen. So when they come to say they win 7 corporations, you know why? Because look at it. See it. See what they did. When the whole mass of Trinidad is spread out, Arima has 29,000 voters. So they claim Arima. Chaguanas has 69,000 voters. I'm talking about the local government. Local government, look at the discrepancy, look at the discrimination. Diego Martin, 89,000. Mayaro, 30,000. Pinal Debe, 78,000. Porter Spain, 37,000. Princess Town, 83,000. San Fernando, I know you want to know, 50,000. Sama Lavandil, 136,000. Sani Grande, 60,000. Suparia, 72,000. Tunapuna, Piaco, 179,000. That is why the NAR had created 19 corporations, so there will be equity, equality for the electorates. I'll break this down a little more on another day. Could you help me prepare the table? Per Burgess, I left out Cuba. I don't know why Barry left it out. I told him to write it big for me so I could see it. It's up on the screen. 151,000 Cuba Tabakit. See them? You see them? So when they claim point 14 and say win, 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 17,000 and all don't vote. Whereas when we win Cuba, Tabakit, Alparo, how much we said it was? 100 and? Yes. You see how they gerrymander things. Their PNM is really good, and that is why we have to be on the standby and on the lookout in this election. They always find a way. They find a way by hook or by crook to put themselves into power. So they think you are stupid. I say, I know you are smart, and therefore we have to do what is the right thing as we go forward. I want to thank the local government representatives and ask them to join me in the San Fernando City Corporation. They will all win their seats. Marabella East, Councillor Kern Ramdial. La Romaine, Reservoir West, Councillor Rishi Balram Singh. Marabella South, Councillor Marcus Gidari. Of course, of Alderman there, Rupal Samaru. And then we have Alderman Colin Lizama, if the team can join us. And I'll give them a minute each. Shall I let them get an appointment to speak? They've worked brilliantly for us in the corporation, and we want them to win again. So each will speak to you for a few minutes. Before I go, I want to thank you very much. God bless you all. And remember, the time is now. Now is the time. Don't tote, vote. Vote them out. Vote them out. Thank you. Kern Ramdial.
Special good night to us. Special good night to us. Special good night to our leader, Ms. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. All MPs, all senators, and my hard-working colleagues, and my United National Congress family. It's a special honor to be here with you tonight in this forum to highlight some key issues that I'm sure are not just affecting my community alone. We must stand together, stronger than ever, to raise our voice and speak on the turmoil that facing our communities. My name is Kern Ramdial, the councillor for Marabella East, and I'm keen to serve my community, filled with a strong spirit of service to have fought hard in council meeting to resurrect the Marabella community to its glory. But the road has been long and hard, but they will not break my spirit. I'm committed to serve. There are many challenges facing my community, such as flooding caused by improper drainage. Also, there are 3 main water courses in Gopal lands that have been not cleaned in over 10 years. The grass is so high, I think elephant is hiding in there and making young ones. But in the 3 years that I've been trying to get this matter addressed by central government and council, there are a lot of red tapes. Nothing gets done, and my purchases are held to ransom. There is a stench coming from the Petruchin River that affects residents so badly they cannot sleep properly and they are getting sick. Who knows what long-term effect people will suffer from inhaling those fumes. I have not relented or given up the fight. From October 2020 to date, I have been able to complete 25 to 30 key projects with road repairs, paving, construction of box drains in critical areas. But it's not enough. So I would like to say thank you. I'll run out of time.
Thank you, Kearney, hard-working councillor for Marabella East. I'd now like to introduce my councillor, hard-working Rishi Balram Singh from Reservoir West, Laramie.
Honorable political leader, MPs, senators, NATEX members, a special good night to you all. So in 1 minute here, I cannot list out everything that I've achieved as a councillor within my district, nor can I list out all the problems that we face in the San Fernando City Corporation. What I will say is that remember the words of our political leader, elections have consequences. And when the election is called, be it local government or general elections, I urge you all to come out and heed the advice of our political leader. Don't vote, vote.
Short and sweet. Now, The sweet man is coming on, Marcus Gidhari from Vistabella, South Marabella.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good evening, brothers and sisters. I am the elected councillor for the Marabella South Vistabella District, Marcus Gidhari. And all the speakers that spoke before, they would have had the same clarion call. It is important that we win all 9 districts of San Fernando. All 9. San Fernando doesn't have a vision. There is no vision for San Fernando. Look at the street dwellers. Look at businesses. Everything is being washed into the waterfront area. But tonight I am calling and giving a mandate to the residents of San Fernando to come out and vote. When that date is announced, come out and vote for every one of the representatives of the United National Congress. We understand that PNM is the problem, but UNC is the only solution. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Marcus. And I guess in every council you must have a pastor. So next up is Alderman Colin Lizama.
Good evening, everyone. Allow me to quote from our Honorable Chairman. It's as if the people of South do not exist for the PNM except to vote. After shutting down Petrotrin, the PNM has made all of South a ghost town with criminals engaging home invasions, robberies, assaults, and I can go on and say worse and worse and worse and worse about things that is happening in San Fernando. But I encourage you, as my other colleagues would advise you, don't vote, vote. And I want to emphasize something that Meru Wayede, something Meru said last week on the podium. He said, forget about who don't like who, and which one had you like, and who one they put. And as Senator Anil said, don't let anyone divide the party. Let us all come together and unite for a change in Trinidad and Tobago and a change in the city of San Fernando. Don't vote.
Good words there. And lastly, we have Alderman Ruplal Samaru, also known to all of us as Buddy. Buddy is the leader, the minority leader in the council, and he works very hard.
Thank you very much, our very, very charming chairperson. UNC family, you have heard it all tonight. You have heard all the problems we are having in San Fernando. You have seen, I really wanted to warmly welcome all of you to the beautiful city of San Fernando. But in the last 8 years, our city has been decimated. We have, all the speakers have spoken ad nauseum about what is taking place in San Fernando. Marcus mentioned something about development. There are buildings going up in San Fernando, but it is not development. Development is much more than concrete and steel, right? We see in the PNM building stuff, but with no plan. A city must have a plan in building. So I want to say to Faris tonight, Faris, building concrete structures, voter padding is not visionary planning. You know, I remember our visionary leader, our founder of our party, Mr. Basil Pandey, saying words to the effect that people will only change when they are ready to change and when they have had enough. So tonight I want to ask you, my UNC family, have you had enough of this PNM government? Now I want to tell you something, there are more PNM people that listen to this Monday night report than UNC people, So we want to send the message to them clearly. So I want to ask you again, UNC people, if you have had enough, I want you to say it with me. Enough is enough. Let us say it together. Enough is enough. One more time. Enough is enough. And before I leave political leader, I would really like to, on behalf of my colleagues at the San Fernando City Corporation, thank you for the opportunity to serve this great party. And I want to tell you that we did serve this great party with pride. So as I leave, I want to ask all of you, we have an election to win. Let us unite. Let us put all our differences aside. Now is not the time for that. Now is the time that we must march forward, hand in hand, and take back our great city. I thank you.
I have a second on the mic. I just want to say thank you to the San Fernando West Executive and the hard-working activists for working in a week's notice to pull this thing together. It was fantastic. I love you. Thank you, Uncle Curtis, for the free maxi rides from Marabella. We love you and we appreciate you.
To the nation, put the guns them down. Cause we want some understand.